watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
How much money are you missing out on at the dealership with dropped or unanswered calls each day? As inventory picks back up across the country, and it definitely is, so have the calls coming into your dealership. So you want to make sure that your team is equipped to handle the volume. This is a very important topic. On today's show, we are pleased to welcome Mr. Mike Hoyser, who is the Vice President of Training, for Phone Ninjas, who provides ongoing training to dealers across the country. These guys are tops in their field. So if you want, you're going to want to make some notes today because this is a very important topic, as you know. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us on the show.
No, it's great to be here. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. From your perspective, you guys work with hundreds, if not thousands of dealers all over the country, all over North America for that matter. That's why we love having you in. From your perspective, how do you see, or what do you see, I should say, as the biggest challenge when handling phone calls today in dealerships?
Well, I say the biggest challenge now is we provide so much information out to the customers and consumers out there. With everything that's available online, the customers are able to see and get so much information, so many pictures, so much details about the vehicles, history about the vehicles, financial information, all this. And so the customers, they're on their own agenda when they call in. So they call in, they have specific questions they want answered.
Yep.
And I think because they're on their agenda, what they want to cover. And on our side, on the dealership side, we're on ours.
Mm-hmm.
Our agenda is to bring them in. We'd like to set up a meeting and actually have them in, but the customer is really, they're on their agenda. They're trying to find out pricing, availability, and information that way. So I think that one of the biggest challenges we have is being able to switch that, take control of the phone call, okay, and be able to invite them in when the customer is on their agenda. They just want to get the information. So I think that we need to start selling. Okay, we need to start qualifying the customer in asking the questions. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have, and probably you'll know from your profession, is generally the person asking the questions is controlling the conversation.
That's right.
And we have very little that we hear all the time where the salesperson or the person, the BDC or someone in the dealership is actually asking the questions. We're normally giving the information. We're just providing the information. And what happens is we stay on their agenda and they control what happens on the phone call. I think that's a big challenge. Yeah,
there's no question about it. And I've spoken to a number of dealers around the country that are concerned right now because over the last 3 years, it's been like shooting fish in a barrel. People, whether they called up or clicked or came in the showroom floor, it was I have the car, I'm going to be able to sell it to you. Nobody else has it. I'm going to be able to charge you a sticker price or above. And training kind of went by the wayside. Details like this kind of went by the wayside. And now you've got dealers that are waking up going, I've got hundreds, if not thousands of calls coming into my dealership and my people are not prepared to take them. Again, it's why we wanted to talk to you today. And you guys at Phone Ninjas, who I've heard that name from dealers across the country as well, to say, well, we've got a company that we work with. Why use Phone Ninjas? Dealers that are listening right now are like, what do we need to use Phone Ninjas for? And what makes you guys different?
Well, I think what makes us different is a lot of times there are a lot of phone training companies out there that are using transcription, alerting methods, all these types of things. And I think what Phone Ninjas does, we bring back the human side. Okay, we have coaches, live coaches, and coaching assistants that are going to be working with you. I think what's nice is it's not just a matter of alerting management. Hey, we see a prospect opportunity here, or we hear a problem on the phone, go handle it. When we could train the salesperson, BDC person, someone in service or whatever, how to properly handle the phone call. So what we want to do is we want to actually give them a coach that's going to be working with them, that's going to make things a little bit different. So one of the other things we do is we use the live calls. We have a mystery shopping type situation, but we use live events, okay, to go ahead and use that as coaching opportunities. So it's not where you have somebody coming in acting as a customer. We're actually using the customer calls. Now, we're not listening to them live, okay? We're grabbing the audio file just maybe later that day, where we give that audio file to a coach. The coach is going to be listening and then giving feedback and recommendations on how to get better.
Yeah.
What's nice what's nice is the salesperson is basically handled a little bit personally. So they get the coaching information, they get a little bit better as they go.
Yeah, that's very important too. There's no question. And also there's accountability built in there when you've got your own coach, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the accountability is a big part of it. I think it's one of those things where when the salespeople, the BDC, and everyone else is being listened to in a way, coached in a way, everyone has to be on their game.
That's right.
So it's not a free for all. I mean, like you said, during the COVID side, I listened to a lot of phone calls during COVID, and the way the information was delivered is completely different than it is now.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, it's here. It's going to be at 5,000. It was just right in your face. And you're like shocked, but that's all the confidence in the world.
I know.
So I think what makes Phone Ninjas different is the way we provide confidence. They create confidence by knowing what to say and how to say it in different situations.
That's right. What do you say to the dealer out there that says, well, I hear what you're saying, Mike, but I don't know if you could train my team. You don't know the market, you don't know my team. You hear a lot of dealers say that about whether it be marketing programs or training programs or what have you. What do you say to that dealer that goes, I don't know, that's going to work on my guys?
Well, it's funny because as I go to the different stores and I go around, I do get that sometimes. I get that because I'll have a lot of tenured salespeople or so on. And a lot of times somebody will ask me, hey, what do you get most about the job? What do you like most about it? What do you get? When do you feel like, you really got a lot of, what makes you feel good about it? And I tell you, what I really like about it is when I do go out to a store that has a lot of tenured salespeople, and then they come up to me afterwards and they say, I've been doing this a long time, and I did pick up a lot of different things, and you know what? I need to polish up on this.
Yeah.
Some of the things that were pretty obvious, I think I was missing on. So I kind of really like that.
Yeah. Sometimes the old timers can be the worst ones on the phone. I when I had salespeople, on the showroom floor, some of them were great closers when they worked, in person with those consumers, but on the phones, they were awful. In fact, you'd want to just keep them off. And we don't have that luxury today because the phone is such a big part of it. And if those people go out there, just wild without any proper training and accountability and support, they're costing you thousands of dollars in lost gross profit, right?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed,
no
for sure.
How can dealerships get better when handling phone calls?
Well, I think how they can get better is to create consistency. One of the questions I pose a lot of times is when I'm talking about successful people, top 1%ers, and I ask about their characteristics and how they handle things. What is it about them that make them different? When I ask those questions, a lot of times I get feedback like, well, they're hard workers, they're good listeners, all this stuff. But one of the things that does come up is they're very disciplined. And I really like that because disciplined people are very good about not cutting corners. If they have a process, they cover the full process. Yeah. And they don't do that. By being disciplined, it creates consistency. And I think that if you can figure out a way to get your staff consistent on handling phone calls, and we can stabilize things, you don't just have two people great and everybody else down here.
Yeah.
If you can move everybody up, now that we have that, now how can we just move it up and get a little bit better?
That's right.
And I think that'll definitely help. I think focusing on what I call the sale on the call as well. What I mean by that is, not trying to sell the vehicle on the phone, but trying to sell that meeting or the appointment. Keep focused on that. Let's progress the sale to this point and not try to do too much. I think that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And also being a pro. Know your product.
Yeah.
Okay. Know your competition. Know your industry. No more than just your website.
Yeah.
If you're repeating your website back to your customer when they call in and that's all they have that information.
That's right.
They're looking for a little help,
Yeah.
I think it helps.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of results can dealerships really see after hiring phone ninjas? I mean, is this something that's going to take a long period of time? What kind of increases are we going to actually see once we bring you on?
Well, generally, when we bring on a dealership and we just get started and we start to get some sort of measurement, usually they're averaging on the first phone call as the call comes in, as the opportunity hits, somewhere around a little over 20% appointment setting on that first try. So what you're going to start to see with Phone Ninjas is our average customers are right about 60%. So you're going to see a big increase right out of the gate.
Yeah,
Within 90 days, you're going to see that. Now, our better performing dealerships that have been on a long time and they do very well, they're over 80% appointment setting.
Wow.
It takes a little to do that. Obviously, you have to have good management buy-in.
Sure.
Okay. You got to stay with the program, make sure that everyone's reviewing the calls, make sure they're staying certified and they're using the tool properly. And you'll see those type of results.
Yeah. Wow. Those are huge results. I mean, if there's dealers listening that just heard that 80%, that 80% equates to, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars in gross profit for your store. I mean, this is something, as I said on the opening, this is a very important topic. If you don't think it is, take your friend's cell phone and shop your own dealerships and see what you get and see what kind of training, or I should say lack of training, your own people may have. What advice would you have, Mike, for dealerships out there struggling with phone calls?
Well, I believe getting back to the basics, let's get back to selling, not just telling. I think it's one of those things where we're seeing competition start to really get back to where we were. And it's not just telling everybody, hey, this is the cost and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's start turning it around. Let's separate ourselves now. When I mean by selling, let's sell ourselves in our dealership. Okay. I look at it like, don't forget to be, I like to say 5-star. It doesn't cost anything more to treat your customers at a high level.
That's right.
You think of a 5-star resort, 5-star restaurant, okay? And I try to think of little things like giving directions to the store. Currently, I know we text, and that's the way everybody goes. I'll text you the address. Just ask for me when you get here. And we hear that sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. But we left a lot of gray area there. A lot of times you ask me when to come in. Well, what do they do? Where do I go?
Right.
Where do I park?
That's
Who
right.
do I ask for? What do you look like? When I get there, if you're not there, who should I ask?
Yeah.
What is it? And a lot of times these higher organizations, they're going to tell you exactly what you do. So when you show up, you're comfortable in the setting.
That's right.
So it's little things like that.
Right down
Make sure you
to
qualify.
one dealership, maybe one of your clients, where the gentleman told me where to park when I arrive and where the customer parking was. And he said, call me when you get there, when you park, and I'll come out and get you. I thought, well, that's kind of cool because the dealership is so big where, I'm going to get out of the car and now start looking for this person, right? So, and of course I did. I called him and he was there in, less than 30 seconds. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's great. We all know that they go less than 2 places now. Customers go less than 2 places to make a decision. They're going to go to the first place they feel the most comfortable. So go ahead and do that. Stand out, separate from the person down the street, okay? And you'll see you'll have a better result.
Yeah. Hey, for managers and dealers that are listening to us today, Mike, what is the next step? Do they call you or your people to say, hey, come on in here and do kind of an analysis or an audit of where we currently are to see if you can help us? Is that the way that it works? And then you advise them as to what you can do for them?
Yeah, we do a couple different things. One, we can do what we call a stealth test. Okay, where we can send in some leads into the different departments. We do that. We can do phone calls into there just to get an assessment to where they're at. Once they decide they want to do something and they want to come here, we offer on-site training where it's led, okay, where an instructor comes in, we lead through it. I think that if you're going to integrate a process, it's really the best way to deliver the message.
Yeah.
If you're going to create a new process inside the company, I think the best way to do it is to communicate the information of what expectations are to everybody on staff, so it's very, very clear, so you can get up and running at a quick pace.
Sure. Speaking of which, once I give you your company the go ahead, how quickly am I up and running?
Very quickly. It's one of those things where we can turn it inside of a week, really that quick.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we have a certification process where everyone can watch a series of videos. We can get you set up and we get you going really, really, really quick, actually.
Wow, that's fantastic. Dealers and managers, you're one click away from changing your world in the area of phone calls and increasing your closing ratio, increasing your gross profit, and also adding higher scores to your CSI, because we all know that that relationship with that consumer today starts with that phone call. Heck, it even really starts with the click to online. But once they have that person on the phone, that's where the rubber meets the road with regard to how they feel they're being handled as a consumer at your store. So this, as I said on the open, it's a very important topic, how the calls are being taken, what's happening to them, what's the accountability, and most importantly, what's the training. So Mike Hoyser, Vice President of Training for Phone Ninjas. Phone Ninjas is the name of the company. There's a click right below this video. You are now, as I said earlier, a click away from changing your world. So check them out. You got nothing to lose. And so Mike, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We very much appreciate it. Love to do a follow-up with you to see how things are going.
That would be great.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.